Begley Jr. to save the planet. Fight food waste by shopping smart and using what you buy before it gets trashed.
That's way better. Ooh, arugula.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Hodge. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, President of Northern Michigan University Brock Tessman announces he'll be leaving the position this summer. Plus, protesters gathered in Marquette this past weekend to sound off on the Trump administration. And it was the same down in Lansing, where thousands showed up on the Capitol lawn. Your 19 News at 6 starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 6.
Our plan here. I'm meteorologist Tom DeVecchio, and for a cold one out there, a lot of clouds around. Little lake effect not too far away from Marquette, probably holding off toward the east for tonight on that north and northwest flow, and temperatures will be falling into the teens to the lower 20s across the region. There could be a pretty decent band in between Marquette and Munising during the nighttime hours and into the early morning hours tomorrow. More on the rest of the forecast later in the show. Kevin, back to you.
Tom, thank you. NMU President Brock Tessman is announcing he will be leaving the university this summer. Tessman has accepted the presidential position at Montana State University and will leave NMU on July 1st. In an email to the university, Tessman addressed his personal reasons for leaving, stating his family's mixed feelings about the decision, stating, quote, "For personal and professional reasons, the president's role at Montana State is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we couldn't pass up. Our entire family is feeling real sadness about the change, especially because it's happening earlier than we would have ever imagined. I love serving as your president, and our family loves Marquette and the Upper Peninsula. As you all know, this is an incredibly special community, and we couldn't have felt more welcome during our time here. Thank you," end quote. We'll have more information on the future of NMU as this story progresses. Saturday saw a massive demonstration in downtown Marquette in opposition to the Trump administration. Our John Truitt was there and has the report.
The Lake Superior Indivisible Collective joined the millions of other groups across the nation for the Hands Off rally to voice displeasure with the Trump administration. The protesters came from all walks of life and all ages. Mike Anderegg thought his days of activism were over.
It's been a long time since I felt the need to be in a demonstration, but today I did.
The Hands Off demonstrations were held in every major city and in small towns across the country. For organizer Brian Wallen, the crowds in Marquette were more than he expected.
I'm blown away by the number of people that turned out today. I think we have an incredible community.
The issues of concern were as varied as the crowd. The economy, human rights, the environment, support for the arts. Each person I spoke to had something they personally were alarmed about. Cheryl Anderegg was a teacher for 30 years and is demonstrating in support of libraries.
The cuts to the Department of Education are just devastating for me, and the libraries, that's another thing that's just been, hit me right at the heart.
Although counter demonstrators showed up and stayed on the periphery, the day unfolded peacefully, something Brian Wallen was happy to see.
For us, it's really important to keep kindness and inclusion at the forefront of what we're doing.
Though no official count was made of the crowd, some estimates were as many as 3,500, while others put the crowd size at around 1,000 people. Either way, it was a sizable number of people, all exercising the most fundamental of rights. In Marquette, John Truitt, WZMQ 19 News.
Thousands of protesters also showed up in Lansing over the weekend. The 50-51 movement organized a Remove, Reverse, Reclaim protest that filled the Capitol lawn. Protesters say they showed up because they're sick of funding rights and programs getting taken away without the consent of the people. Some Michigan lawmakers, the Deputy Secretary of State, Lieutenant Governor, and Attorney General all came to show their support. Organizers say the rally was planned completely online and went above and beyond their expectations.
It's unbelievable. We're actually all basically first-time organizers. Every one of these people has a 9-to-5 job. We have given our lives for the last month to organize this, and we couldn't be happier about how it's turned out.
We'll have more from the Capitol protests coming up tonight at 11:10 Central. Your first warning weather forecast is after the break. Plus, we're live in Washington, D.C. as President Trump meets with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And later, Jim Koski is here for Life in the 906. He'll give us a troll's eye view of the UP. We're back in 2 minutes.
Get an 11% rebate on everything for your outdoor project at Menards. Shop the largest selection of AC2 pressure-treated lumber and decking. All easy to load directly into your vehicle with our drive-through lumber yard. Plus, get free estimates fast using our easy do-it-yourself deck design program. Available in store or on Menards.com. Get an 11% rebate on all AC2 pressure-treated lumber and decking at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Automakers never stop thinking about your safety. When they discover a safety defect, they issue a safety recall and cover the cost of repairs. It doesn't matter how old your vehicle is or if you're not the original owner. All you need to do is bring it in. Do your part by checking for safety recalls at checktoprotect.org.
John's Auto is quickly becoming everybody's favorite place to get their car fixed. John's Auto is quickly becoming everybody's favorite place to fix their car. Was that right? For a better service experience, come to John's Auto Market. Why do I keep forgetting that word? Experience. Okay, go. 3, 2. For a better service experience, come to John's Auto Market.
And don't forget, we're
Tonight's weather is brought to you by Shunk Furniture.
Mr. Mattress here. It's our free box spring event. It happens only once a year. Buy any mattress from our Mr. Mattress collection and the foundation's free. Any size, twin, full, queen, or king. 7 different models to choose from. Pick your comfort, firm, plush, or pillow top. They're all here for you to try. Get a premium pillow top queen size mattress for just $7.99 and the box foundation's free. Get a twin size for $5.49 and the box foundation's free. Shop Shunks at Marquette today.
Now, WZMQ TV19 First Warning Weather with meteorologist Tom DeVecchio.
Let's check out the major headlines for Marquette. Wintertime is holding on, at least temperature-wise, over the next couple of days here. Certainly over the next 24 hours at least, before we do get a little bit milder on Wednesday. And finally, by the weekend, we get a little more spring-like here, Upper Peninsula style, as we get into the lower 50s. So, got to get through the rest of tonight and through the rest of Tuesday. And that's winter still solid here. Still have a lot of snow here, particularly in the northern half of the Upper Peninsula, where even a foot and a half, over 2 feet in Houghton right now. That's the current snow depth, of course, much smaller as you head farther south. But we've gone through the first week of April and still 2 feet of snow on the ground. Yay, that is a lot of snow. And a little more on the way here, a cold northerly flow for tonight. Winds will be pretty brisk in the evening. They'll gradually die down as we head on through the rest of tonight. But it's a northerly flow coming right off the open waters of Lake Superior, and that will allow for the lake effect to continue. As you head through the rest of Tuesday, I see a little clockwise spin here in the atmosphere. That's high pressure, and as that high pressure builds in, it will tend to squelch a lot of that snowfall there, and also make things a little more tolerable, even though they'll still be on the cold side as that high coming right out of Canada. So this evening, not too bad. The northerly winds continue. Look at this nice little band forming here. Even though they have it over Marquette by early Tuesday morning, but I think that band is going to set up somewhere between Marquette and Munising. And there could be locally, just with that band, a lot of snow, but around it, not a whole lot expected here as we go on through the rest of Tuesday. Everything dies out by midday as the winds shift a little bit and high pressure builds in, gives us some afternoon sun, and the clouds come back in for Wednesday. Morning may see some light snow, and then a little bit of snow possible for Wednesday night as the next system approaches from the west, but I think the majority will stay to the south. As for snowfall amounts here, actually, that is the wrong day. I apologize for that, but we are looking at maybe about another 1/2 to 1 inch of snow most areas tonight, with maybe 2 to 4 where that band persists as we head on into the Tuesday midday hours. For the rest of tonight, temperatures falling into the teens to the lower 20s for your lows, and we'll try to get to 30 here for some of you. You can see we keep the snow in there for Munising, and temperatures approaching 40 as we head toward Wednesday and Thursday, and near 50 by the upcoming weekend.
Tom, thank you very much. President Donald Trump welcomed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House today. The leaders discussed pressing issues like the war in Gaza and the president's recent tariffs affecting Israeli goods. WZMQ 19 News Washington, D.C. correspondent Brendan Scanlon is live at the Capitol with more details on the meeting. Brendan, good evening.
Hey there, Kevin. Good evening. Well, since Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's last visit to the White House, Israel has fully resumed its war in Gaza, and that ceasefire that President Trump took credit for has fully fallen apart.
Mr. President, will you discuss tariffs on Israel?
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the Oval Office again, his second visit in the last 2 months. His trip is the first of any foreign leader since President Trump announced sweeping tariffs on Wednesday, where he imposed a 17% tariff on Israeli goods.
We've been ripped off and taken advantage of by many countries over the years, and can't do it anymore. Just can't do it anymore.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do.
As Netanyahu aims to negotiate relief from the tariffs, his country's 18-month-long war with Hamas intensifies after a ceasefire touted by President Trump shattered last month. Protests in Washington, D.C. and around the country this weekend. Thousands of demonstrators gathering and marching along the National Mall, calling on the U.S. to stop supporting military actions in Gaza while criticizing how pro-Palestinian voices are being treated in the U.S.
Well, I'd like to see the war stop, and I think the war will stop at some point that won't be in the too distant future.
The administration says the latest escalation falls on Hamas.
Unfortunately, what we have seen from Hamas is a rejection of many of these proposals, but we need to see Hamas release the hostages. We need to see Hamas lay down their arms. All of the violence we are seeing lies squarely at their feet.
And Kevin, the international community is going to be watching very close as a result of this meeting to see if there's any policy change or policy shift that can sort of alter the trajectory of the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Countries around the globe are also going to be watching to see how President Trump responds to that 17% tariff he had imposed for Israel, given the fact that Netanyahu did say today that Israel plans to eliminate the trade deficit with the U.S. So a lot to keep an eye on there as well. President Trump was asked by reporters today if he has any plans for a pause on tariffs for other countries while they try to negotiate. We know that several countries are trying to come here to the U.S. to negotiate with the administration, hoping to get their foot in the door to try to alleviate some of the burden from those tariffs that we saw last week. Reporting live on Capitol Hill for WZMQ 19 News, I'm Brendan Scanlon. Kevin, back to you.
Brendan, thank you very much as always. The UP Health System held the 2025 Community Health Summit this morning, covering the Community Health Needs Assessment Survey. Every 3 years, this survey welcomes community members and organizations to provide input on what they believe to be the most important health needs for Marquette County. With this year's survey results, attendees worked together to create plans to improve the most significant responses. The goal is for the health system to break away from making its own assumptions for what the community needs.
It allows us to make the right decisions. So we're not making decisions on what we're assuming the needs of the population in the community is. We're actually hearing from them and then taking that information and putting it into action.
Results from the summit will go through a final report, which will be released in May. Coming up next, we're talking with the Marquette Downtown Development Authority about their plans for the summer. We have your 19 News Insights when we come back.
If you are suffering from mesothelioma, lung cancer, or pulmonary fibrosis, you may be entitled to compensation, even if you smoked. Call Detroit-based Goldberg, Persky & White, working lawyers for working people for more than 35 years.
Our child has autism. He doesn't usually elope, but one day he did, and it was the most terrifying moment of our lives.
If I didn't have a home security system, I would have realized way too late he's gone. He could have drowned or been hit by a car.
We couldn't imagine life without our son. We cannot emphasize enough the importance of having secure doors for our family.
For my child, I co-founded Spectrum 360 Foundation, a nonprofit aiming to support individuals with autism and their families. We have partnered up with Vivint Home Security to bring safety to families like ours. It can truly save lives.
Call 800-895-8120 for free installation and incredibly low monthly monitoring plans. Every family will receive a free doorbell camera with the new plan. Don't wait. Your child's safety is everything.
Direct.
Don't you ever look up at the sky and roll your eyes. You hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
He holds the line.
I resent it, and I resent you for doing it.
Mathis Court is in session.
Weekdays on WZMQ CBS. You're watching WZMQ 19 News, live and local, with Kevin Hodge.
Welcome back, everyone. It may not feel like it right now, but summer is on the way. Don't worry. The Marquette Downtown Development Authority is hard at work preparing for their annual events. And joining us tonight is, of course, Promotions Director for the DDA, Mike Bradford. Mike, always glad to have you in.
Yeah, always happy to be here.
So there's a couple events I wanted to talk to you about. One of the biggest ones, of course, the Blueberry Festival. How are things shaping up right now?
So far, so good. Because, last year we had 8,200 people come throughout the day and over 90 vendors, participate. And so, basically the deadline is at the end of this month, Friday, April 25th. And already things are looking good. Got some of the local favorites, local businesses have been, participating. But then a lot of new ones. It's been really nice to see, actually. I think that kind of speaks to the popularity of the event growing. And so, it's just more and more. And I'm trying to find new ways, too, to try and incorporate more vendors and maybe even a bigger area. So I want people to kind of stay tuned and kind of, keep an eye on what changes we could see this year.
Sure, yeah. And how are you expecting things to go this year with any changes at all?
Yeah, well, always it's going to go well. I mean, it has to.
Of
There's
course.
no other route for us to take. But obviously it's busting at the seams. So I'm looking at ways to try and increase the footprint so that I have more space to put vendors, but also for more space for people to, hang out.
Sure.
Maybe some more placemaking for people to sit down and enjoy their time and just allow people to more comfortably stay at the festival instead of, digging through the crowds, the 8,200 people that you see throughout the day.
Sure. All right. Let's move on to Music on Third as well. We expanded last year, and we have some big changes for this year as well. Tell us about those.
Music on Third. So same deadline for any musicians out there. Friday, April 25th, and a lot of changes this year. Last year, we saw more changes than the event's ever seen, and I'm bringing even more this year. because it's growing so much. We have 18 venues, local businesses on 3rd Street, each one with its own band or, soloist, and all bringing their own local flavor of the musical talent we have. But the changes to expect this year is, so first one, people probably won't like this, but it opens up the door for all my other changes, is we're getting rid of June.
Okay.
June's always been a difficult month weather-wise, and it really stretches our team thin with all the planning we do, but I'll make the community a trade on that one. We're also extending the hours.
Okay.
People always felt it was too short. It was 6 to 8 p.m. and you got to try and see as many of these bands as you can, over 10 blocks. It makes it hard to really soak in the music. So it's now going to be 6 to 9 p.m.
Okay.
So adding that extra hour, we're going to stagger the band so everyone has a chance to see who's playing and not to stretch the musicians too far. I mean, 2 hour set's long, but I wouldn't dare ask them for 3 hours.
Right.
Way too much for anyone to play.
Sure.
But the street closure will be returning too. That was wildly successful last year. It really opened up the entire event area. And with the social district, it really allows people to, grab, say, a beer at Black Rocks and then just walk the street and take in the music.
Sure. All right. And definitely looking forward to everything coming up this summer, Mike. Thank you so much. Sorry, one more thing?
Oh, no, just the weather.
Oh, yes. We need the weather to clear up, definitely.
Really.
Mike, thanks so much for coming in again.
Thanks for
Always
having me.
appreciate you. And Jim Koski has your Life in the 906 when we come back.
The wait is over. England Furniture's quick shipping is back at Kirkish Furniture. Choose your style and fabric and receive your furniture in as little as 30 days. Browse our in-stock selection or let our staff help you customize the perfect sofa or chair. Plus, 1 year free financing and free delivery.
Automakers never stop thinking about your safety. When they discover a safety defect, they issue a safety recall and cover the cost of repairs. It doesn't matter how old your vehicle is or if you're not the original owner. All you need to do is bring it in. Do your part by checking for safety recalls at checktoprotect.org.
Better begins with the way we see each other. Better begins with the way we treat each other. Better begins with the way we care for each other. Better begins at Aspirus Health, bringing out the better in all of us.
My family's been in business for 70 plus years. We really needed to stress that this is not just a running store. Our running shoes are good for everybody.
It's about the people out in the community who are in the workforce. All those people really benefit from the proper footwear and structure that a running shoe can provide.
They might come in limping, almost like a miracle, walk out of here dancing. It's more than shoes. There's a caring that doesn't exist in a lot of businesses anymore.
Closed captioning sponsored by Range Bank of Upper Michigan.
This is home for CBS. WZMQ 19.
Welcome back, everyone. Jim Koski, welcome back to you, sir. What do you have for us today?
Well, you know, Kevin, I've spent some time with people from downstate recently, and I was curious about something. So I asked each of these three trolls the first thing that comes to their mind when they think about the UP. I received 3 different answers, and I was not surprised by any of them. The first response is one that we hear a lot from people who aren't Upers. It's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. I get that. I'm cool when people say something along those lines. After all, I'll be the first to admit that the UP isn't for everyone. But thanks for appreciating the fact that we have something kind of special up here. Unlike the second person to whom I spoke who said, and I'm quoting here, parts of the UP seem so civilized. Really? Parts of the UP seem so civilized? You seem shocked that we have paved streets, electric lights, and don't hunt our own food. I hate to tell you this, but the UP uses some of the most cutting-edge technology in the way we live and in the work we do. Oh, and you know what else? We even have indoor plumbing. Those are the worst kind of trolls. But then you get a chance to meet their polar opposites, like the third person I asked. Their response to the question, there are many beautiful places on our planet, almost all I've never seen before, but I have been to one, and I can see why people never want to go back under the bridge. I could not have said that better myself. It's nice to know that some people from downstate realize there's more to our 15 counties than just stereotypes and prejudices, and get the fact that this is a uniquely magical place, because it is. And Jeremy, you guys are always welcome up here. But those other trolls that are surprised by how civilized we are, well, maybe we'll have to arrange to have a moose knock over the outhouse they have to use in the dark because they don't think we have electricity or indoor plumbing. I'm Jim Koski, and that's another slice of life in the 906.
Jim, thank you very much as always. And don't forget to join Jim weekday afternoons on Q107 WMQT. President Donald Trump says he won't agree to any changes in the tariffs he's implemented on a country unless there's no trade deficit. But an economist explains that way of dealing with trade is unrealistic. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports.
A White House official tells me countries like Japan, Israel, and Vietnam are having leader-to-leader discussions with the president, looking to make a deal on the tariffs the U.S. has imposed.
But I said, we're not going to have deficits with your country. We're not going to do that, because to me a deficit is a loss. We're going to have surpluses, or we're at worst going to be breaking even.
This is simply just unrealistic and just a very misguided way of looking at trade.
An economist with the Tax Foundation, a nonpartisan tax policy nonprofit, says a trade deficit isn't necessarily a bad thing.
When I go to get my clothes dry cleaned, right, I have a trade deficit with my dry cleaner. I give them money, they provide a service to me. I'm not producing anything. I'm not giving them, any good or service in exchange. Is that a bad outcome? No. I mean, they are better at dry cleaning, my clothes than I am. So I'm agreeing to give them money, in exchange for a service that I am unable to provide for myself. And the analog to trade is that there are just certain countries that are just better at producing things than we are, such as various, food products that we don't have, that we're unable to produce because we don't have, say, the right climate or environment.
He also adds, in most cases, there's a trade deficit with most countries because they're significantly poorer than us.
There's just no world in which Vietnam and Cambodia, for instance, to just pick two. I mean, because we have large trade deficits with that. I mean, there's no world in which they are going to be buying more from us than we buy from them, simply because they are poorer.
In Washington, Rachel Knapp, WZMQ 19 News.
Coming up next, Tom DeVecchio gives us a final look at weather. We'll be right back.
What happens when reporters take you inside the story?
I've been asking for over a year and a half for access into this place, and this is the first time we're getting it.
You get the all-new CBS Evening News every weeknight.
Mr. Mattress here at Serta's Big Spring Sale, and it's going on now. There's extra discounts on all iComfort Pro mattresses and adjustable bases. Save up to $925. Zone Comfort design for full body alignment so you get a good night's sleep. At Shunks, we carry a full line of Serta mattresses. They're all here for you to try. 22 different models and comfort levels to choose from. A nice plush queen-size perfect sleeper mattress is on sale for just $4.99. Shop Shunks on Marquette today.
I had a brain aneurysm in the year 2000 here. No one was going to hire someone that had a disability or whatever. I went through a program here at Goodwill well over 20 years ago, and they hired me as soon as I was able to come back to work. They hired many people with disabilities and stuff and get them back into the workforce. My favorite thing I work at Marquette Goodwill is just interacting with the people. It's great atmosphere here and great people here. Goodwill treats everyone really good. It's like a second chance almost, I was going to say. It really gets you back on your feet.
Shop and donate to your local Goodwill.
The UP loves to be outdoors. Running, fishing, hiking, biking. If it's happening outside, you want to be a part of it. And this little baby is what you need to be ready. It's local and 100% free, 24/7. WZMQ 19's news app can show you the best times to be out, what to wear, how to stay safe, whether to bring along the kids. It's your problem-solving power tool. The WZMQ 19 app, now playing on a phone near you.
She's inquisitive
What led to this young lady finding you in this compromising situation?
and firm.
The only thing that matters in this particular courtroom, sir, is how I see it.
Watch Equal Justice with Judge Ebony K. Williams.
Weekdays on WZMQ CBS.
Well, check out the corrected snowfall map here. This is how much snow we expect into early tomorrow morning. Marquette maybe an inch, but there's that band there of maybe 4 inches or so, where that band persists in between Marquette and just to the west of Munising during the morning hours on Tuesday. Otherwise, temperatures falling teens to near 20 degrees for your lows on a cold one for tonight. And we'll be up close to 30 by tomorrow. And then things find to get even milder as we head toward Wednesday and near 50 by the upcoming weekend. Kevin?
Thanks, Tom. And that's all we have for right now, everyone. We'll see you again at 11:10 Central.